All right, welcome back to Exiles 1.0. This is Casper, the co-host of our podcast. I am here joined by special guest Alex, who's here to kind of run us through June and see what's going on, some updates about uh, shit, what's happening. Say hello to everyone. Right. So, we did previously start recording, and then I had a fatal error on my side. I had to redo this goddamn recording. So, so pretty much where we left off was talking a little bit about where I left off, which was initially I played in the other two episodes. If you haven't seen it already, feel free to catch up to these episodes of bonus episode 9 and 10, I believe it was, where I kind of do a brief overview, which is about an hour and a half, for the first section of the game and in the middle section of the game, in my opinion, where things get a little dicey. But pretty much what we're going to talk today about is basically the end game, where is pretty much where I stopped playing. I stopped playing about 90% towards the end of the PvE content, which at that point was going into the deep desert, which where there is a, correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, there's a little bit of PvE in there as well, and then it quickly transitions into PvP. Yeah, there's been an update. Yeah, I know. Yeah, they do have an update. I think what did they do? They increased the block, the map area.
Yeah, so previously the deep desert was a grid, a 9 by 9 grid, and the
Hmm.
first row was PvP or PvE, sorry, and the other 8 rows were full PvP. Uh, a lot of the PvE players finally made it to the deep desert and really just couldn't play the game because it's uh, it's a big survival game, and if you've ever played one like Rust or Ark in PvP, large groups are almost always going to win,
Hmm.
just by the nature of things. And you might be able to overcome like a 1v2, maybe a 1v3, but it's very unlikely. Uh, but you're definitely not going to overcome a 5, a 10, or even a 20 man disadvantage. Um, so
No,
they,
should you? This is not an action movie.
yeah, correct. It just sucks for the solo players, but they kind of knew what they were getting into, right? There was some marketing confusion, I think, on Funcom's part, the developer of the game. They had done all sorts of things. I don't know if they really knew what they wanted, but they've been trying to make Dune an MMO survival, which I don't think there's a good example of, really. Um, and this might be a new genre, but it's definitely a very difficult genre to get right. Um, they had previously said that if you were a PvE player, you'd be able to do the entire content of the game without ever engaging in PvP. And that's just clearly not true.
I mean,
All the
but
tier 6
technically, you can still go
materials.
into technically you can still go into deep desert. You can still get minimal amounts of spice.
Well, yeah, you could get spice in Haga Basin, the PvE map,
Okay. So
but
again,
pla-
how is it
plas-
not? How is that
but
not?
plastane. If you just give me a second.
Okay.
Plastanium, which is made out of titanium and stravidium fiber, I think it was called.
This is
Uh,
what tier 6.
yeah, tier 6 materials are only found in the deep desert, and
Mm-hmm.
they're only found in the PvP sections of the deep desert, way in the back. Um, like even the first couple of rows, there wasn't a lot of them. You had to go very far in.
Okay.
Also, to get any appreciable amount of spice, you really needed to go to the deep desert. Um,
And to be just for those who are not aware of what we're talking about, when you say deep desert, specifically it's the PvP area, not the PvE area, not the first eight
correct.
rows,
Yeah, correct.
which is now is what?
Uh,
It's like what,
Now
10,
it's the
12?
first 5.5 rows are PVE,
Mm-hmm.
and the last 5.5 rows, or sorry, the first 4.5 rows are PVE, and the last 4.5 rows are PvP.
So what's in the middle?
They it's split. So
Oh, so it blends. It
for
like it blends
for
in.
yeah, halfway through Sector E, it becomes PvP. Um,
Wish I had a map to show. Maybe I can get a map. Let's see. While you talk.
okay,
Dune Awakening. Uh, Deep Desert.
that that update also pushed a very small amount of the Tier 6 resource nodes, titanium and stravidium fiber, into the PvE areas. Previously, they were not there. They're
Wow.
still there. They're
So
still
that
not there in high quantities. They're there in only low quantities. But now at least you could get them. Until everybody starts building bases over the nodes and
hmm,
starts keeping one node for just themselves by building a base around it.
in the
Or
PvP area.
in the PvE area.
Oh, in the PvE area. Okay. So I'm looking at the map right
Uh,
now. It has I see sections grid A, B, C, D, and E are considered PvE, and then after that, half of E is PvP. Then F, G, H, I is PvP.
correct. Yeah.
Okay. It is. It. I mean, it feels like a waste of space because there's nothing between D, C, and B. Like it's just
There's
emptiness.
it's supposed to be empty to fill like the immersion, but there's also some of those dungeons there. But still, the shipwrecks that happen in that area are still PvP.
Cool.
And to get the best blueprints, you still have to go to the PvP sections.
Right. Okay.
Um, so even the dungeons that were formerly in the PvP area that are now PvE don't have the best loot anymore.
Yeah.
So
Even so,
they
they say
really, yeah.
yeah, Mach 5 difficulty plus, even though Mach 4, and then over here is Mach 5 recommended. Mach 5 very hard. Mach
So
6.
yeah, technically you can get everything in PvE now. But if you want, well, not even technically. Technically you can get all the resources in PvE now, but you can't get all the loot blueprints in PvP or in PvE. You have to go to the PvP
How
sections.
different is the T5 equipment versus the T5, T6?
Uh, some of them have unique things like a shotgun that lights you on fire, a triple shot sniper rifle that does poison on each shot, a knife that lights you on fire, a sword that
A
I think gives
lightsaber.
you stamina back.
Oh.
There's no lightsaber, but there is las guns, which are mostly used for PvP base raiding, but can also be used to uh, destroy vehicles much faster. Um,
I mean, there was a
there's
little bit
another,
of that drama when it came to the rocket drama about
yeah,
rockets taking either two. Were they OP at first, and then they nerfed, and then they got ridiculously nerfed.
no, they're still the same, really. I mean, the issue is you can still carry hundreds of rockets. Um, the netcode is just not great. We went out one time with 6 people in assault helicopters, assault ornithopters, which with the rocket stats,
Mm.
these were the best in the game, the Mark 6s. They were twice the damage of a scout helicopter. They fired a little slower and they generated more heat, which is like a battery bar,
Like a cooldown.
kind of. Yeah. But overall, uh, they should have more than doubled the damage. And we had 6 versus 1 guy. That one guy was streaming, and everybody on our side was streaming as well, um, including myself, but I was only streaming the Discord. But we could see on our side where we were hitting the same dude with the higher level rockets, twice the amount of damage as a scout helicopter. We hit him at least 200 times between all of us. Now, these rockets are supposed to do 460-ish damage, and the ornithopter that we were hitting is supposed to have about 1500 health for each part. So, what, like maybe 4 or 5 shots for a part to be broken at most?
Which is for rockets is kind of outrageous, but okay.
Well, he was not getting damaged. He then left the PvE area or
So,
PvP area that we were in because it was kind of right on the border, which is a whole nother issue.
so it's just like the
And
border doesn't have a cooldown. I thought the PPD
It's
was
like a
supposed to have
5 second cooldown.
Oh
It's
my
5 seconds.
god. Yeah, that's neat.
And then now it's 30 seconds, but it's still really not enough time.
Not when everything doesn't do no damage. Yeah.
So, well, on our side, we saw that we hit him that many times. On his side, we watched the stream later. On his side, we only hit him like 4 or 5 times.
Which is still a good amount though.
Yeah, he did end up with one partially damaged wing out of 4 wings. So when you get hit, it rolls a random dice to hit any module in the AoE radius of the rocket. It's just random.
Wow.
Yeah. Um, so on his side, it looks like we just were terrible. On our side, it looks like he's hacking. Um, of course, we get into it in global chat, but the point is, there's no real consistency there. Because then on the other side, you'll just get jumped if you're a solo player by 6 dudes in rockets, and the rockets are pretty hard to aim actually. But
Yeah.
if you're parked on the ground,
That's an easy
it's
shot, yeah.
it's a pretty easy shot, and you can spam lots of rockets, especially from multiple
Yeah, the six
ornithopters.
of you guys attacking. It's really quickly to ambush someone.
And the render distances only gives you. I'm not going to give a distance. I'm going to give a time. It gives you maybe 5 seconds at most if you are looking in the direction they're coming and you have your perfect supercomputer like a lot of us gamers do. The render distance is maybe
Not
600 meters.
not coffee. Shout out to
Yeah,
coffee.
not a lot of people are going to be able to. And even then, 5 seconds is not a lot of time to do whatever you're doing. Pick up whatever you're doing, get
hmm
back in your ornithopter, and take off and fly away. Uh,
Assuming you're right,
they're
like
still
you
gonna,
might not even be. You might not even be next to your thumper if you're like walking a little bit away from it while you collect
yeah,
these materials.
yeah. Um, I guess this is kind of why we quit. Apart from the hacking and the duping that has just been overly prevalent in
So
this game and
what
Conan
it
Exile.
is you can hack and dupe anything, or is it more like because I remember in the games that we've ever experienced that it's usually like raw materials, like like in some other games that play, like the iron ignits that typically we collect, we'll be able to learn how to dupe
Yeah.
them, or cement. In this specific situation, is it just anything, or is it just specific items that you guys?
Um, it depends on the degree that you're doing. Um, I don't have an actual hack. I don't know anybody that did. I know they exist though, where you can
Allegedly.
literally just open. No, this part I'll admit to what I did later in a second. Um, there are literal hacks to just open the admin menu. There are ways to spoof your ID to be
Oh
the same
gosh.
as somebody next to you, so you can just get access to their base and everything in it. These were all apparently fixed this Tuesday, a couple days
This
ago.
the game has battle eye though, right?
Battle Eye is useless.
Oh man, how is
um,
that company still in business?
because the rest of the game's pretty good, and there's not a lot of
No, no, I
cheaters
mean
most of the
battle eye.
time.
I mean battle eye.
Oh, Battle Eye? I don't know, man. Um, yeah, I mean, this whole review could be boiled down to play the first 100 hours of PvE survival, and then put it down and wait for the next story expansion. Because there's 2 acts to the story right now. There's actually a lot of story content for a survival game, and a
Okay.
lot of side missions. But there's going to be more. And if you're a
The only
Dune fan,
thing,
it's very immersive, and there's a lot to it. But
the
just play
only
the
thing this
PvE and
game,
wait.
the only thing this game feels like survival is okay. So I'll say two things that feel survival is one, the base building, right, and
Yeah.
then two, the very lightweight collection of materials. Because even the collection
Yeah,
of
well, you
materials
you
don't
didn't really get
feel.
to tier 6 though. Tier 6 is brutal
I understand that, but
with it.
I'm saying it just in general. That's the only two things that I felt were, in my opinion, very survival like. Beyond that, the enemies are not very threatening other than when you go outside of your level. Like, so obviously the game doesn't have really what
But
traditional MMOs have, where it's like if you pass this area is from level 16 to 30. Don't go in this area. So you can make the mistake to go into those areas where are like 2 or 3 classes of tier above you, and then you get wrecked. Well, other than that, if you stay within the area that you are currently built out for, the enemies are not very difficult, so it doesn't feel very survival. PVE doesn't
until you
attack you.
until you get to the late game dungeons that are tuned around 4 players. Um, Even in tier 6 gear alone, it was taking me like when I was solo in tier 6 gear towards the end. I didn't really care about losing anything anymore. I went and tried to solo one of the dungeons. I did it, but it took me about an hour,
But
and
that's
it
more of,
takes
I think
a
that's more
good
of an
group.
MMO. Um,
Yeah, I mean it's fitting, but
we're talking about the survival aspect of this game where you're claiming that it is. They should have added. I would probably play it back again if they ever add PVE rating, where
yeah, I kind of talked about that in that article you were telling them about in the recording beforehand. That
oh,
got
that's good.
lost.
I guess that's a good pivot. Look at you, Mister. So you wrote, yeah, okay. So I'll put it up on the screen. So you wrote a lengthy article. Um, I know you enough that when you become very passionate about something, typically you do write up. So for those of you who are wondering, he is Deaf Prophet 666 on Reddit. So check him out. He posts a
Oh
few.
man, you just committed a
I'm
sin.
doxing
You
you,
just
bro.
doxed me.
I'm doxing you, bro. I doxed you. But that's all right because you do write very insightful things, and I feel and I read half of this right before I was able to get on chat with you, and I feel like any Dune fans who are listening to this, which again the reason why we're doing this episode is because we did get a request for it. So if you are wondering, you want to interface, feel free to check out the article here on Reddit on Dune's Awakening, and check it out. I'll probably put a link onto the description as well. Uh, that way you guys can
Calling
check
it
it out.
an article is so funny to me.
It's lengthy, bro. It's you you
It's
you
like four
you
paragraphs.
even
It's not that
use
long.
no. Look,
I
one,
wasn't even gonna
two,
write it, and then they
three,
prompted us all to
4,
turn in a
5,
survey. So
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is like a Games Radar article. No, this is
whatever.
longer than a Games Radar or one of those like PC Gamer articles. This is
It's
much
just a
longer.
reply to a survey, man.
All right, so run me through this. Run me through this.
Oh, I don't even have it open. Hold on.
I see number one, number two. So the number one is referring to questions. I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, hold on. I gotta open it because I did not have it open.
All right. I guess I should open up the survey. I don't. Do you have the link for the survey?
Uh,
Dune Awake.
um, yeah, I think it's in our Discord as well. The survival channel. All right.
So,
So in the beginning, I just talk about how I've met the creative director before once, and I'm hopeful for the future of the game. And I say the number one thing is I know it's an infinite arms race, but for any MMO or survival, or let alone a mix of the both, you absolutely need to lock down duping and hacking. Um,
oh yeah, I had a question
I
for that one.
guess let
Would
me.
you consider it more MMO or more survival, or is it a good blend?
Uh, I would consider it both an MMO light and a survival light, but slightly more survival than an MMO
Got it. Okay.
at this point. Maybe in the future, if they add PvE raids, we could readjust that, but right now it's mostly a survival,
Okay.
or more survival than MMO. Uh, and one quick thing on the hacking. Um, there was a way to dupe without really hacking. Just lag
S-
switching, for anybody who knows what that is. You
No,
can
I don't know
just.
what that is. I haven't played games for like the last 20 years. No, no, I'm serious. I need you to explain what that is.
Alright, so in this specific instance, you could go into your network manager. You'd have to do some setup in game first. So the way it worked was you would set up a some fabricator or refinery that you wanted the resources back from. So in Dune, anything you build, if you destroy it, you get 100% of the resources back, which is really nice quality of life compared to most survival games. If anybody's played Rust, you know you have to physically break it down yourself and you don't get the resources back. If you play Ark, you get like half the resources back or something. I haven't played it in a while. In Dune, you get all your resources back. And so the way this worked was that you would build a little foundation and then a wall above that and a roof above that, and then place whatever you wanted to dupe on that roof. Then you would go into your network manager, which is not a
Oh,
hack, it's just your task manager, but for your network, and slow down the traffic or turn off the traffic to the Dune game. And then go back to Dune, and before 30 seconds, it's a timeout that Dune had, delete both the foundation that the fabricator or the duped thing was standing on,
mhm.
and delete the actual thing itself.
This is a good
This would
opportunity
give
for
you.
me to interrupt and say that at no point do we advocate to do this within game. This will probably get you banned. This is just
I don't
for
know. It might
this is
get you
for
banned, but
this.
apparently it's all been fixed. So that's why I'm talking about it now. It's all been
Okay,
fixed now, apparently.
we we
I
are
haven't
not
played. I
encouraging.
haven't tried it. I haven't tried it, and I haven't played since that. But it's apparently been fixed now. I don't
Oh.
know if I believe that because these have been around in Conan Exile for I don't know however long Conan's
And
been
this
out.
is
Eight
similar
years.
to remember you ever remember router tapping
Uh,
in
I
FPS
didn't hear it.
games? Router tapping where people used to shoot
Oh,
up their pings on purposely
yeah.
to not get
It's
hit.
still it's all just lag switching.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, you delete the thing twice basically before the game has registered that you have sent either command. Then you turn your network back on so that the game doesn't kick you out. And then when you come back in, everything happens instantly, and so you get double the resources back because the game thinks you deleted two things. Because when you delete the foundation, the game registers everything above it and gives you the resources back for everything above it if it was a supporting piece. And so you
Wow.
would do this on the largest endgame thing, the large spice refinery, which took almost 1,000 tier 6 ore, or sorry, 1,000 tier 6 ingots, and 1,000 spice melange. And when you deleted it, you'd get twice that amount back, along with some various other stuff. And you could just keep doing this over and over and over again.
And there's like zero risk to this because at that bare minimum you get at least your original
What
amount
you
back.
had back, yeah.
Oh man.
Um, that was the least hacky of the exploits, I would say.
Mm.
Well, there was another one where if you put this has also apparently been fixed. The game has a durability system, and over time, as you repair your items, okay, so it has durability. The item breaks, you can repair it, but only to 80% or something.
Right.
That's based on a lot of things in the game. And so eventually, you won't be able to use that item at all. This other exploit allowed you to put the items into a chest that you wanted to repair. Put the items in a chest, delete the chest, the items go into your inventory, leave the map. So take your helicopter, leave the PvE map, go to the loading screen, to the world map, like you would be going to the major cities or to the PvP deep desert. Stay there for 30 seconds, come back, and for whatever reason, the items were reset at full
What the
durability.
hell?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Now, I think I know the right reason why this is a problem is because you the tier six blueprints are one time use. So
Yep.
once you use them and you get
All
them,
all blueprints are one-time use, but
okay.
you can go back and get them again. Yeah.
But once, yeah,
But
I mean, you basically need to get it once, and you could deck out 20 players with it,
yeah.
and then not have to worry about ever getting losing anything. At this point, it makes the whole end game new.
Yeah. So we had reached a point, even before these things were discovered to us, we had reached a point where we didn't really have anything left that we needed. And so the only continual play for us was to go out and slow down other people. And I just didn't feel like I wanted to do that, and neither did this other group that I was playing with. Basically, the only combat, the only PvP left was to go and hit people that were just out there trying to farm themselves. There wasn't really any actual PvP to fight people. There's
Mm.
supposed to be a PvE endgame called the Landsrad, where you turn in stuff. weekly to the
They don't
factory vendors,
seem
but
very
because,
impactful.
well, everybody just hoards it. So every day at 6 p.m. server time, 1800 server time, you unlock two or three more. Um, what are they called? Like
Factions?
houses that want,
Okay.
yeah, that want turn-ins. But because there's so many people and there's so many big guilds, people have just been stockpiling everything. So when that time comes, within 5 minutes, everything's already turned in,
Everyone just
and
turns
there's no point to. Yeah. On top of that, I did not know this
in.
until about a week ago, but you can take 300 spice melange to the House representative and bribe him. It only works on about half of them, and it's random every week. But you can bribe them to lock it out, so only you can contribute to it.
Okay,
So
that's
these
kind of
guilds that were
cool.
duping, yeah, but the guilds that were duping 300 spice melange, 300 spice melange is not a small amount. It's actually quite a bit. Even for a full carrier,
Hmm.
like the end game, like you have a carrier that carries a sand crawler, and you need like scouts and a guy thumping and people to protect you from PvP, like a whole 5 to 10 man
Operation.
operation, right? Would come back with maybe full load, and this hardly ever happens, 1,000 spice melange, and then you got to split that up between 10 people.
But the fact that you can bribe a random NPC on paper,
Yeah,
it's actually kind of cool because it does
it's a cool
encourage
concept.
group. Yeah, it encourages group play. Encourages you for the concept of
There's
bribing is especially in the world of Doom. It's right up there.
there's a lot of cool concepts in this game, and again, the first 100 hours are a very immersive, very true to form Dune survival game. Like you're gonna feel like you're on Arrakis, evading sandstorms, evading sandworms. Playing with melee combat versus shielded combat. It's pretty good. Um, it's just there's no real fun end game. It's just griefing.
Yeah,
And I say that as
they're
somebody who
they're
plays PvP survival games and enjoys PvP survival games, getting raided and raiding other people and taking everything. That's not this, because you don't get any resources back. So say you go out there, you jump somebody on the spice field, you kill them.
did you stop talking? Let me pause it.
It's dying. I don't know what's going on. What's the
Yeah,
last thing you heard?
yeah. Imagine you go into the deep desert and you kill someone and then you stop talking.
Okay, so yeah, imagine you go to the deep desert, you kill someone, you don't really have any time before the sandworm comes and eats everything. And if you get eaten by the sandworm, you lose everything. There's no loot bag, there's nothing for anybody to pick up. You have like maybe 20 seconds because everything's
Gobbled up.
attracting the worm. Um, you can't get. I don't. I don't think you can. I haven't really tried. You can't get into the inventory of somebody else's vehicle, even in PvP, even after you've blown it up.
Mm.
I think if you blow up the storage module, it does drop it onto the map, but that takes so much time. The worm's going to come and eat it,
Especially when the
or they're going to
rockets don't
put.
do any damage.
They do a lot of damage if the game registers they hit. That's the thing. Uh, and hitting somebody on the ground, like jumping somebody on the ground, is pretty easy. Um,
I mean, voxel
I kind
games
of.
tends. I mean, and this is game is not a voxel game, but in our experience of playing voxel games, when it comes to MMO voxel games, they do tend to struggle when it comes to hit registration and lag, especially when it comes to projectiles. I remember, I don't know if you remember this, but some of the little battles that we got into when it came to StarMade, back way back.
Yeah.
Like, and even now, some of the survival games that I've played at Orion and some of the other ones that are voxel games that require you to shoot a projectile and land into the under enemy, it sometimes hit and miss. So I'm not surprised to see this issue.
It's just networking is really hard. There's a reason network engineers are paid what they used to be paid. Um, I can't speak for Funcom or any other companies, but I don't really think it's something you can just give a brand new person off the line or AI. Um, at least not yet. It's a difficult job. So network engineering is difficult to do, and it gets exponentially harder with more complex systems. In a very small, enclosed 10-man thing like Call of Duty, it's not as bad. But even Call of Duty has issues.
Right.
Um,
I think that the
and
thing about Call of Duty that it's closed off. Each room has only a capacity of a certain amount of players. So once someone starts hacking, it becomes very apparent very easily.
well, I mean, that's the other thing is I say this in this article. I keep calling it article. I say this in this
It is an
Reddit
article.
post.
No, it's an article, bro. It's all right.
Um,
You're a Dune journalist.
that the only way this has ever really been defeated, hacking and duping in survival games before, is near 24/7 server admins. And
Right.
that's very expensive. And it's not something they're probably going to do. But
Unless you
that's
elect
really the
players,
only solution. Yeah.
which has been
Um,
adopted historically in MMO games, where players themselves apply to become moderators and admins of video games. And it's usually a good way of fostering game careers to really get into the foothold of game design and game involvement, where players sometimes have no idea how to get involved. The reason I know this is because one, my wife was at a point recruited and was able to be admin of, of an MMO game back in the day. And
I actually don't know that, but that's interesting.
yeah,
I
it
didn't
was a
know that.
silly little game that we played, but they were recruiting, and um, she's just I don't remember the game. May do you remember the game that you was admin for? Nostale? No, it wasn't Nostale. Was it Nostale? Okay, it was a game called Nostale. It was MMO. It was a very cartoonish little, basically fighter game. They had 1,000 of these games back when it was at its height. But
Yeah.
so they put out an ad. She applied for it, and oddly enough, within a week, she got admin powers. And basically, she was able to run events. She was able to like basically peek into people's inventory, like basically do everything admin to make sure that the server was running well. If she got a report, she got a ticket saying someone's complaining about this, she could instantly teleport to that area to figure out what's going on. Now, the reason why this is important is because she had the ability to then now have team meetings with developers, and she was able to enter that world. But oftentimes, and most players never get a chance to. They could play a game like me. I could play Path for the next 20 years. I may never be able to get in the front door of GGG to see what's going on.
Path is also a much larger game than whatever you guys were playing.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm just crossing my fingers and crossing my toes here. I might, I don't know. um, Trying to get an invite to ExileCon, man. Come on. Um,
I wish you the best, man.
I'm not looking. That's one plane ride where I simultaneously would love to go, but simultaneously hate to go.
It's a long flight to New Zealand. Yeah.
Yes, it's a very long flight from the States. Very long. But yeah, anyway. Um, so you covered one, covered two. You said some stuff in the middle about enemy factions can raid outposts at any time if they successfully make it all the way to the blue room. What's it about?
Yeah. So this is kind of like adding a PvE raid. The number two section is they've really been wanting a game without saying the titles. They want a game in Dune Awakening that fulfills Rust players, Mass Effect players, and Stardew Valley players. And you can't really have an end game for all of them at the same time, but you could have an end game for each of them. So what I would do, and this is just a suggestion,
Sounds like PV.
is
Sounds like GGG.
yeah. I mean, I don't think PvP's really ever been a thing in Path
No,
of
I mean
Exile, so
like there's an end game for every content. Like that's what Path is. There's an end game for Delve. There's an end game
kinda.
for mapping. There's an end game for like
Yeah,
Breach.
but it's still all just ARPG grinding for the most part.
Yeah, I mean it's that's the because that's the base of the genre. I think for I'll let you continue. Bro.
Yeah. Okay, so I think there's more differences there, but in general, yes, more content would help. But I'm giving some specific examples. So the first one would be an MMO like Battleground. If you've ever played WoW, what I'm really thinking here is something like Strand of the Ancients, their Battleground. But PvP enabled, faction based, and developer built, NPC defended deep desert strongholds. You would have uh, faction aligned players defending and faction opposed players attacking, trying to steal the spice. There would be about 1 to 3 of these each faction each week, because the deep desert changes every week. It's randomly generated every week. I haven't really talked about that, but yeah, that's the thing. This would push PvP players to actually interact with each other in their giant play space, the deep desert. And the strongholds are, they could be spice refining or mining outposts or military outposts, whatever. But they'll slowly generate tier 6 crafting materials and spice melange over time. Every hour or so, they'll distribute payouts of those crafting materials to the houses, to the players that are aligned with that faction that have helped defend it. Some base value times the minutes that they've been hanging out around the place, plus a base value for every
You
faction
try to give
player that they've
people
killed.
part-time jobs.
I mean, it's a fair way to do it, I think, right? Like,
Just I don't know why.
anyway,
I'm just envisioning the Home Depot of Spice Melange. People just standing around like, yo, I'm just trying to get paid, man. Like, come on.
I mean that's what mercenary jobs are, you know. It's a lot of hurry up and wait. Um, so
Sorry.
the enemy faction players could then raid the outpost at any time. If they successfully make it all the way to the loot room, whatever you want to call it, a large carry-all ornithopter, a vault, or the refineries themselves, whatever it is, they then need to load the loot onto an NPC extraction ornithopter, giving the defenders some time to actually defend. Uh, if they make it out, if the extraction ornithopter makes it out with the loot, all the players that were there were rewarded with the spice and the mats materials that were currently in the outpost,
So what's your?
split automatically
This is a
between all of.
PVE. This is a PVE PvP. Well, PvPvE. Uh,
Yeah,
okay, okay. Sounds dope
yeah.
so far, by the way.
So yeah, I know. I wrote it. I wouldn't want to.
I know. I'm just giving you credit for your article. Like, Jesus. He's like, I know. I wrote it, man. God. Okay.
All right, we're never gonna get through this.
That's fine. Just go ahead. I'm good.
They are okay. So the if they successfully make it out, whatever, uh, they can go claim their rewards in the PVE map from the faction vendor, and it's split up between everybody that helped. And if they make it out, they actually make it out with what the defending faction would have made at their payout.
Mm.
Uh,
Okay.
but the refinery just goes back to making stuff right away. So the defenders still get a payout unless it was literally like the last minute that the guys came in before the payout.
Do you remember?
Uh,
You remember APB?
I didn't play it.
Okay.
I didn't play it. Yeah.
So this gives me the idea of the APB,
Okay.
where the main goal of APB is that the only way you get paid is by as a mercenary, as a employee of each faction. Your job was to go out and basically do the responsibilities of the faction. So you would get missions to intercept the other faction players. Now, cops and robbers, basically. But I can see this happening also with this, where there's a PVE operation to go collect spice. So it's not your spice dumper, but it's theirs, and your role is to go defend them, or your role is to go attack them. And your contributions to that PVE events, even though you're up against other players, will then net you the similar rewards that you're getting. Now it might be a small amount depending on your kill ratio, whatever case may be, or your point system, but you would get it based on your contribution overall to that mission. It's very similar to that concept, but you can create a long list of different PVE events in which players can take part in, earn money based on contribution, and not necessarily have to worry about killing each other for the F of it.
Yeah, I mean, you could also turn this into entirely PvE. I know the developers don't really want that. And I'll get into some actual PvE only things later. But right now, I think this is a good balance ground. Because the next part is so calls for defenders would go out over the in-game radio. I don't even know if you knew that there was an in-game radio with like radio stations, Casper. But
No, no,
yeah, they have some cool like music and stories and like propaganda and all that. So you could do like calls for defenders and attackers out on the radio with updates at every stage, whatever. Um, Another note is that these strongholds would have anti-air turrets that would very quickly shoot down enemy ornithopters, and this would be a goal of the attacking team to disable because you need to take out the anti-air before you can get your extraction ornithopter in to take the loot out. This would solve a lot of the issues that people are talking about. Dune's been pretty heavily a ground combat series because of shields and a lot of stuff I don't really want to get into for this review. But in the lore, there's a lot of ground combat and like actual swords in a sci-fi setting,
mm-hmm.
and this would give more of that. If you're not just spamming rockets from a helicopter because there's anti-air that's shooting you down,
Right.
then you'll actually have to go in on foot, at least in the beginning half or so. This gives that massive ground scale combat seen in the lore and desired by all the Dune nerds. Um,
I
there's
mean,
also been a
it would give
tank.
transportations
Yeah,
too, feasible too,
yeah, yeah.
like
There's a
high
tank.
HP transporters that would come in, hot drop two, three, four, five guys, and then bounce.
That's actually something I haven't even thought about. There is uh, the assault ornithopter, like the medium ornithopter, has six or five, maybe four. I don't know. Has like 4 to 6 extra seats in it. But there's no reason that you would ever carry those people. You can physically fit like 5 players in there, but why would you? Why not just fly their own ornithopter? In this case, like you're saying, you could just fly them in, drop them off, and then escape without losing the ornithopter.
Right, enough to escape, repair it, and then maybe carry another team in, so you
Yeah,
can kind of keep refreshing the ranks in which is attacking. And if you are coordinating with other, if you're part of the Harkonnen or Atreides, you can coordinate with other factions and other guilds and say, hey, listen, I'm loading up 5 people. I got space.
that's the other thing. Is this is strictly faction PVE PvP. Currently in the deep desert, it's faction free for all, meaning anybody can kill anybody that's not in your guild. Even in your guild, it's really 4-man parties.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and even then, the rockets do friendly fire damage. Uh, and I still think rockets should do friendly fire damage, but faction forced PvP would help a lot to make it a little more immersive and just make things actually happen the way that developers are looking for instead of just random griefing.
Yeah.
This is why I write out the articles. I'm much better at writing than I am speaking. So if you
You're
really
doing
want to read
great.
it, you should go read it.
You're doing
It's
great.
better.
You can just you don't have to read it. You can just summarize it. If again, I'll have
Um,
the link in the description. So if you want to check out the entire thing, all the details, feel free to go in and then comment and show some love.
all right, so then for the next thing I would add, then I'll just say basically the same thing, but PvP strongholds deeper in the deep desert that function pretty similar, but are factionless PvP, meaning it's free for all, um, and function a little bit like the Conan PvE conflict servers with uh, known raiding times and not just random raid time 24/7. It would be like 4 hours during the peak server times when you could raid. And then point three would be PvE only styled raids. So either you're going to raid like spaceships that are flying through Haga Basin or even out in space,
Mm-hmm.
um, raiding other faction homeworlds. There's a couple of special ones like the Ixians, which are like mad scientists but with robots, which is a whole thing in Dune. We're not supposed to have robots. or raiding Talaxu laboratories, which are like genetic mad scientists. So we could see a lot more monster and NPC variety by raiding their laboratories. And this would reward PvE unique gear that is better than any PvP gear, any other gear in the game, but only when in PvE instance raids. And these would be PvE instance raids like World of Warcraft or any other MMO. This would keep separate PvP progression and give PvE strict players their PvE content. And then just one little note at the end. In every survival game, I'm a dwarf at heart. I like building underground. And Ark Survival Lost Colony, separate game, but they just came out with a way to build under the ground officially without hacking or anything. And I would love to see something like that in Dune with like a Fremen Siege that lets you kind of build underground. And
Yeah, the closest thing
yeah,
they have is
just
just the closest thing they have is just crevices and rocks.
yeah.
I can see. I don't know about the lore as far as Dune is concerned, but I can see why building underground wouldn't be a good idea, because you typically start going into the territory of the worms. I mean, eventually there's no. I mean, eventually this rocks stops and then just sand continues. This is a sand
Um,
world.
well, the Fremen in the books do actually live in sieges, which are either kind of under mountains in the rocky areas or actually fully underground. But they're all in the hard rock areas where the worms can't get to.
Mm. Well,
Yeah, but overall, it's a great game for the first 100 hours as a solo player, and then as a solo player that found a group to play with for another 100 hours. Um, it's just really not worth that second 100 hours right now. I built an awesome base. You can find it on my profile as well. It's like a cathedral with a little pool and whatnot.
you ready,
And you're
profile?
welcome to, on the Reddit profile. Yeah, you're welcome to come visit it. It's still running. I plan to just log in once every 20 days or whatever it
Pay
is to
rent.
power the base. Yeah,
You will
it's
pay
mostly
rent.
open. I know you do have to pay rent in this game. It's crazy.
It's but like you said, it's not that it wasn't that much. As long as you're playing consistently, or in this case, some players are duping. Um,
Well, what I
you
did is
should
I
be
just
fine.
went in and I turned off all of our fabricators. So if you ever played again, Casper, you'd have to turn them back on and then remember to turn them off. I've turned them all off, so the whole base is running off of like one generator, and then I just stockpiled a bunch of fuel for that one generator. So I just have to log in, click refuel, fly and pay the taxes, and come back, and it's like a 5 minute thing.
All right. So as we wrap up, I want to touch on the one final thing, which is one of the final things I saw, which was based on the refund that they're doing currently. That they're offering up to 100 Solaris for what exactly? What's going on with that?
All right, so when they made the map more PVE, they didn't really think about this because the PvP, there's some Landsrad control areas that you can slowly generate resources for that Landsrad faction vendor. The thing that's over in like 5 seconds. Well, instead of doing well, the thing that's over in 5 minutes from people stockpiling and turning in a bunch of stuff, there's an alternative. You can go capture a control point in the deep desert in a PvP enabled area, and the control
Mm-hmm.
points are always PvP, but they give like 10 points every minute or every 10 minutes maybe. Whatever. It's a very slow rate. You need like 70,000 points, and you can get that with like one turn in 5 minutes. Or you can go try and hold this thing for 10 days. It's not enough. But what it does is it forces the area around it to be PvP. The first wipe after they made it PvE in the deep desert, the first half,
Mm-hmm.
they forgot about these. So people had built, for whatever reason, the Coriolis storm that wipes the map comes a day after the Landsred objectives change. So the control points got moved around on the map where there were still player bases in the PvE zone. But the control point then made it
Oh,
PvP, which then allowed people to raid places that were supposed to be in the PvE zone.
that is crazy.
Yeah.
And they're offering $1 million, up to $1 million in reimbursements.
which isn't really even that much. The crazy part is they're offering. I don't know how much data they have, but apparently they know if you lost vehicles and they know what was in your chests.
So if
So
that's the
they're
case, they
offering
know
up
how
to.
much you also duping then. If they know all that,
That's what I would think, right? But um, they don't apparently. They are offering up to a
bullshit.
million Solaris back. They're offering all the resources, and if you lost any vehicle, they're offering a tier 6 version of that vehicle, even if
Oh
it was a
my
tier 4 you
god,
lost.
they've ruined the game.
So I don't know
Everyone's gonna
how
apply
or
for that
why.
free. Everyone's gonna apply for it.
No, because apparently they know that you got that tier. They know if you lost a vehicle. I guess they don't know what tier they lost. So if you didn't lose anything, you're not going to be able to apply.
Get out of here, bro. Get out of here. There's no way. How much data are they just gonna sparse through? If they can't figure out that you've been duping, which if it's everything's logged, all of a sudden you notice that from this date to this date, triple the amount of resources came into your inventory over a span of 3 hours. If they have all this data, that means that they can see that. And if they can't see that, that means that they can literally pinpoint every player who has. There's no way. There's no way.
Yeah,
That's my
I don't know
theory.
what to say.
That's my
I
theory.
Yep. I don't want to speculate much more. I don't know.
Well, there you have it. Full Endgame review from a player who has done it all. Literally his grief. Allegedly has
Play with
maybe not um, duped, um, but has some inside information. Um,
I can say 100% truthfully I did not dupe. I may or may not know people that did.
you may or may not. Okay, of course. We all know the drug dealer. We all know it. We all know at least one. They're like, oh. So it's always good to know that one guy, though. It's always know one guy. You never know. Shit might happen. You never know. You might have to call him up, like,
But
yo, man, I need a fix.
yeah, even before we got to that point, there wasn't anything left to do other than just grief people. So again, I just want to end it with play up to the point that Casper played, and then put it down until they come out with new content.
Now the game is currently on sale. I feel like it's on sale with the Steam sale. I don't want to watch it.
I
Why?
think the Steam sale's over now.
Uh, yeah, you might be right. I think you're right. Yep. Yeah. Yep. It's back to normal. I believe it was up to there. It is a $50 game at base. I don't know if $50 is worth the first 100 hours, but but if you don't mind the single player aspect of it, if you don't mind there's plenty of content for PVE within the first 100 hours. Story's pretty good. I don't think they do a bad job with the story. Um, a lot of codexes, not a lot of NPCs. Feels like a lot of it is just you going through new caves. Um, I think I won't play until they release more PvE content. I'm just not interested in the PvP in general. I'm just not interested. Nothing about it seems appealing to me. Even the combat system doesn't like one of the biggest hesitancy of the game was the combat system. It felt a little too like just kind of questionable. And based on me playing it so far, still feels that way. So I wouldn't want to play other better players with that kind of combat system because I know I'm gonna get my ass handed to me. I know. I'm not gonna do that to myself. So, but I do recommend it. $50. If you got the money, if you want something to play for 100 hours, go for it. Any last recommendations?
No, I'd say that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, guys,
Thanks for having me on.
thanks so much for listening. Catch us on the next bonus episode. If you have anything that we want to review, want us to look over anything, if you guys want us to check out any games, feel free to drop it in the comments. Once again, check out Alex's uh, article on
Reddit
Reddit
Reddit post.
in full. If you currently are playing Doom, which I know some of you are, give your input. I mean, if it gets popular enough, understand is that the developers are looking at this stuff. They're looking at changes in what direction they're going to. They really went all in on this IP and want to make a very profitable game, which I think at this point it is. But they want to keep making more money off of this game, so they want to repair and fix whatever it is. So a lot of these ideas can come to life if you support and highlight a lot of these wonderful ideas that Alex has. So thank you so much, guys, and have a good one. Until next time.